Stuff is always confusing as to exactly what it's doing, because the documentation, you'll read some of it and it'll be like, oh, this calls it, and it'll be like, no, it actually doesn't. Not working. Why? Alright, so we've got these periodic winds. What else have we got? So we got wind gusts. Alright, so a hideable object you can hide in. So like a bush that you can actually hide in. So let's do environment. Let's make a wind folder and let's throw everything inside of there. Good. Build is fixed. I'd broken the build, another thing where it's like, you can't use certain things, which I'm gonna write down and shove on the wall. It's gonna be, you cannot use blueprint classes in blueprint generics, like a T-set, etc. Alright, so hideable objects. Let's make a new folder called hideables. So I'm gonna need like a, I guess, BP hideable. This is gonna be based on a object actor. Let's do BP hideable. Well, maybe it should be a hideable object, a hideable component that you can attach to anything. Why don't we try that instead of a hideable object? Like a component. So it'll be like a blueprint. Where I am? Blueprint. Blueprint class based on actor components. So let's do blueprint hideable components. It needs to be like a hideable. Basically, what a hideable component would look for would be, it would look for collision objects on that. Yeah, okay, so why don't we try it using a component? Alright, so BP hideable component. And let's make a, based on a Dashkin object actor. Let's make a BP hideable bush. Hello, Devil 23. I'm working on just some objects for missions that I'll be using later this week. So SAC's doing well. Just last thing I put in here was a and then it's placeholder effects, but it's like a periodic wind gust sort of thing that I can use when I need to. But simple stuff. All right. So let's have a hideable bush. And what do we have for geometry for this? Do we have any bushes and shit like that which I could use? Obstacle meshes. Really don't have much in here. We've got bushes, right? So I should jump over to a different... yeah, you can ask whatever questions you want. I will choose to answer or not based on my own opinions. So let's see, let's jump over to the other level, the grasslands, and grab a bush out of it so I can figure out where they are. So you're asking if something is a good idea or a bad idea. Well, if you're asking, it's probably a questionable idea. So what are these bushes here? Of course, they're all combined in some big ass actor thing. So if we go to our foliage, what is this? We have foliage. Foliage is in the foliage folder. How crazy is that? You need a killer project for your GitHub and you wanted to make a neat little 2D game. How about the Microsoft GitHub Acquisition Simulator 2020? That would be a pretty good one. And you have to work as an open source developer navigating the corridors of GitHub while Microsoft acquires them. And you have to deal with being stack ranked against employees that you've been friends with for years. But now, since you have to be stack ranked, people who are, you know, giving the same amount of effort and the same amount of contribution have to be arbitrarily ranked against each other so that somebody wins and somebody loses. So you have to impress your boss in ways that don't have anything to do with actually working. They have to do with just, well, rank me higher than Jim Bob over there. So instead of actually focusing on productivity, you have to please other people in the office who have nothing to do with actually doing anything useful. That'd be a good one. All right. Yeah, go ahead. You wanted to make a 2D game. Anyway, I'm just talking about random bullshit. So let's go back to our test level now that we know where the foliage is in the foliage folder. So we need a primitive static mesh, I believe, is the component, and that's going to be a mobile flowers or something else. Alright, so we have this static mesh, and let's also add a capsule collision component to this, which will be our kind of what we use to hide our player. That this overlaps you, then we will say, well, you're hidden. Something like this. Let's add a hideable component, and we'll just see how this goes. So you're using a ton of totally not your own Super Nintendo sprites and sound effects to make your project because you don't have time to do art. You want to just show off your coding skills. Is there anything terrible idea? All right, so you're gonna rip a whole bunch of stuff out of like sprite sheets that are available online and sound effect libraries that are available online that are completely copyrighted, and you want to put this out on GitHub. Well, as long as the assets themselves are not on your GitHub and the assets are something else, there shouldn't be a problem with it. The problem would be, of course, that when people pull down your code, they can't actually play your game because none of the assets are available to use. So you could, you could have something else there where it'd be like, all right, well, what you need to do is here's a zip file that's hosted over here. Just unzip this into the directory when you're done. Just like something /data, and put everything inside of that is what I would do. And just say like, this requires assets. I have a completely, something as, you can't use this, it's you can't sell this, it's a joke, whatever, but this is an example. And you could do it like that. And therefore your code is nicely available, and if somebody wanted to play it, they can kind of, combine the two. Kind of like how back in Prohibition they would sell wine blocks. Like they couldn't sell alcohol, right? But they'd say, take this block, don't put it in a cupboard for 6 months. You can buy this block, don't put it in the cupboard. That would be illegal. Remember, don't do this. That's illegal. Our customer support line is, so you can, there are precedents for doing things like that and completely getting away with it. Do you know what an 80% upper is? I mean, it sounds like something in construction or whatever. I don't really fucking know. Oh, 80% upper. Yeah, that's in guns. That's an AR receiver, right? So, the definition of what a gun is a gun. You can print out stuff that needs, just a little bit of finishing, and then boom, and you can have a thing. Yeah, I mean, I own assault rifles. I know a little bit about shooting things. I'm in America, damn it. And yeah, that's what I'm thinking is, and so I think you could. That's totally legit. Like I think that's fine. I think there are precedents for it in plenty of places for that sort of thing. And as long as you're not like hosting stuff and selling it and making it too easy, right? Then you're totally fine. Especially if, this isn't a commercial product, nobody's gonna care. California gun laws. The easiest way to circumvent California gun laws is to not live in California. That's what I've found. Just don't do it. Just don't live in California if you want. If you want to have, because it's actually interesting. Because when I lived in California, in San Diego specifically for a while, I would be walking to work at like 3 in the morning. Walking back and forth because game industry has crazy hours. So I'd be walking past, and there's always this one house that was, had angry dogs, and obviously the people were meth heads and all that crap. And they had like this handmade fence they had 3 rows of handmade fence. It looked like somebody was trying to keep the Vikings out of their hill fort. And of course, one of these times when I'm walking back home, there's this dog that is, one of the angriest dogs ever, probably because the meth heads don't know how to take care of a fucking animal. And, this dog attacks me at like 3 in the morning. It's a big dog. So, luckily I had things to fend off said animal, namely my backpack and objects inside of it that were heavy. So it was just like smack the dog in the face, and, like they get the message really damn fast. But, so I looked up. I was like, all right, if I'm going to be walking at 3 in the morning, like, there are critters out there. I'm like, I'm not worried about people. I wasn't walking through areas that people were a problem, but, it's like, if there's a critter, like, can I just carry, like, a small bat in my backpack or something in case, like, this dog comes after me again? Because I'd rather not, rely on heavy objects in a backpack. That's a really shitty weapon. I was looking through California laws for that, and I was like, I can't fucking carry anything. Like, no, you can't have anything that's intent for a weapon in California. It's ridiculous. Like, you can't carry a bat unless you're going to, like, batting practice. And you're like, where are you at 3 in the morning with a baseball bat, sir? Oh, yeah, I'm heading to the local community center to work on my swing. Like, no. You can't carry a sap, you can't carry a knife. You literally, like, if anything is there as intent for a weapon, It's like the only thing I could legally have carried is a gun, and it was like, what the fuck? I don't want to have to carry a gun around to deal with the local fucking dog. So California laws are stupid. You need an AR to practice for your job. Is your job fending off wolves? Do you work in Alaska as a hunter for oil pipeline? Because if so, I recommend stocking up on tiny bottles of liquor to punch wolves in the face with later. Devil dog. Yeah, I was thinking like if it's an AR for a job, then I don't know exactly which ones those are. Are those Marines? I forget. But yeah. That's why I live in Washington State. They have great tax laws, and they allow you to go shoot things when you want to, and that's fine with me. Also, it's not California. God, I hated paying 2 fucking income tax forms for. It's like, okay, pay California all this money, pay this the federal government all this money. I'm like, why do I have another form? This sucks. Also, state of California owes me $1,000. Those bastards, and they're never gonna pay me because they suck. All right, so the hideable component is going to need to do a thing. We're going to need to. Where are we? Let's actually throw a hideable in the environment. This bush. Let's make you bigger. Let's run over to it. You grew up in Massachusetts? Yeah. You've been very upset. Yeah. Just fucking run into the bush. Just. Oh man, that is funny. Alright, so hideable bush. We want to not collide with the bush. Please and thank you. So no collision. SF in Boston average wages. Yeah, that's the other thing is if you're in California and you're making, like good wages on things, it's not a problem. But if you're not, it sucks. That was part of the reasons why I went from San Diego to Seattle was I was basically moving to a job that pretty much paid exactly the same, but because of taxes, it was a big boost in income. So it's like, this is a good idea. But it was pretty awesome living in like San Diego because they got the military bases there. So every time I was walking to work, you'd see like all the Ospreys flying over and all the cool shit, which is always fun. All right, so on begin play, what we need to do is we need to get components by class. Let's get owner. Yeah. So I get the components by class, and we want to get the collision. So maybe they're the primitive components. And we want to bind to the on overlap. Or do we want to just do... Yeah, okay, we can just do it on the actor, so we don't have to do all this trash otherwise. So let's add our events here. So begin and end overlap. This will be end overlap. Camp Pendleton is gorgeous. Very cool. Asprey is killed more nice. Yeah, I would imagine so. What was the saying with that aircraft was if it's not leaking, it's empty. It's because of how much how much, what, the hydraulic fluid or something, it just leaks out of the damn thing. Alright, so begin overlap, end overlap. What should we do to these guys? We could have an event on the actual object, which is like start hiding or hide count or something. We could have an event on the actual entity actor. The every fluid leaks out of the death trap piece of shit. I can see you have opinions about this aircraft. You have opinion. Yes, dying sucks. Yeah, you know, that's kind of, it's kind of one of the points of living, is the opposite of dying. I'm trying to think, where would be the best place to hook up the "you are hidden" flag? Like, we could do it inside of the entity actor, and anything that was an entity would be able to use this stuff. So I think the entity actor is where we're going to throw it. So we'll go to the entity actor, and we will tell it about the hiding. So we're going to have a hide count, is what we should do. So entity actor. So we will have set hidden by, and then we'll have a class A actor hidden by, and we'll also have remove hidden by, and we'll have also this int 32 actors hidden by, and that'll return how many actors we actually have hiding us. So let's do that. The Black Hawk is a gorgeous piece of machinery. You got to guide one of those at night via radio. Fell in love instantly. I don't think I've seen a Black Hawk in person. I forget what they're known for. Is it durability? I mean, other than, you know, movies of titles that have Black Hawk in them, but I'm not super up on my helicopters. Alright, so it's gonna be hidden actors. You don't see Black Hawks in person, you get dust in your yeah, exactly. Let's see. So we have these guys here. Do we have an update function? Do we have a tick function? We do have a tick. What I'd like to do is go through the T-set of stuff and remove invalid actors as kind of a catch to be like, well, this actor doesn't exist anymore, so yeah, let's just do update hidden by actors as a function. Because then what we can do is we can be kind of assured that if we screw up our code for our hiding actors, like we have a bush that is hiding us and gets set on fire and we fuck up the code for it, it won't actually break everything. Let's see, so does Unreal 4 have other language options, or does it always use script? Yeah, the blueprints, it's blueprints and then C++. I don't know of any other script that is supported by Unreal 4. It's not like they have Unreal script like in Unreal 3. But there's probably plugins that support other stuff. Like, I would very much expect a LewisScript plugin and some other stuff. And you can get JavaScript to run on anything, so I'm sure there are bridges for it. Yeah, Unreal Script is phased out, so you can't use Unreal Script in Unreal 4. That was all Unreal 3. I'm not super familiar with Unreal 3, though, so I can't really say much about it. So how do we iterate over T-sets? It's just auto address. Let me just see if there's something. I mean, that's pretty much how it is right now anyway. Like, Unreal is super popular. You see a lot more Unity games now because there's a lot more independent projects and Unity is easier to get into. But pretty much all the big projects are like CryEngine, Lumberyard, Unreal, or, you know, proprietary engine like Frostbite, with like CryEngine, Lumberyard being a very, very small, with Lumberyard being the smallest. Let's see. Remove invalid pointers from T-set Unreal. U objects pointed to T-sets are garbage collected. Let's see, this is January 15. I have a U actor component with T-sets. Unlike T-set or T-array, the T-set cannot be specified as a U property. I don't think I really need to. Maybe I don't need to do anything with this. Maybe it will just. I mean, if this thing's gonna get all pissed off about having a T-set and having pointers in it, let's see. See if the header tool gets all pissed at us. I think this documentation's out of date. Unity and Monogame have made C# relevant. C# I mean, C# is relevant, right? Like just in the same way Java is relevant. Maybe not to games all the time. Like C# is very relevant for games because of a lot of tools that people write for games. C# is very much in big studios, and then web servers, of course. You mentioned game design. Ah, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I'm glad that we've gone to actual type checked languages for scripting stuff. Like, I would have. I do not like the idea of having everything in JavaScript or Lua or something else. It just gets into a mess nightmare land on large projects. So having something like C#, having something like Blueprints or C++ really helps manage large projects. That's kind of the thing is we'd write a whole bunch of tools in Python, and every single time I've worked on a project where all the tools are written in something like Python or Lua or some scripting language or JavaScript, it just turns into trash. Like after a certain amount of time, just everything gets rewritten 5 different fucking times because nobody wants to go touch this non-compiling pile of trash that nobody's messed with in 6 months, and the person who wrote it is now in a different project or whatever. But tools that are written in actual type languages like Java, C++, C#, things like that, always got maintained. You can actually do things with them. Well, I think this should just work, and this like update hidden by actors, probably I can just remove this because supposedly it should just do its thing. So I'll have to build this again. Get back to work. Yeah, the stream is going goofy. Um, I did change my bit rates, and it's at 1280p now instead of a lower resolution. I don't know if that's screwed up. It's my, but I am compiling and crap like that. It might screw with it. Anyway, have fun with work and all that. try not to, try not to get killed by any falling ospreys. Maybe I should just read the documentation on tset. Set with optional key func parameters for customizing how the elements are compared when searched. You can specify mapping of elements keys you want to find. It uses a t-sparse array of elements and also links the elements into a hash with a number of buckets proportional to the number of elements. Addition, removal, and finding are O of 1. Alright. Well, we'll see. So hideable objects will tell the thing, I need an event for this thing. Alright, so what we're gonna want is this, what, one param? And that's gonna take our, this will be F, entity hidden delegate, and so I've hidden and unhidden. So I need to go to hide objects, and what we're gonna do is, if we add, we're always going to do unhidden, and we'll broadcast that out. So that'll be our hide and unhide that we can go hook into and use. We can play effects and do other crap. All right. So we will. No. Okay, what this should be is bool was hidden. All right, yeah. So if am hidden by actors num is equal to 0, then yeah, basically we need to check if before we added it if we were not hidden, and then so it'll, yeah. Alright, so that should help us out with our not having duplicate events. It'll only be called when we actually are hidden. Alright, that makes sense. How's the compile time for UE4 C++? It's not too bad. The issue is I haven't hooked up everything nicely um, for header includes. 4.16 had some of that kind of transitioning. So if you're on like the latest Unreal 4, you're going to get better compile times than I have. But you might get worse link times. Like on the Maelstrom project, link times are fucking insane on their stuff. Like in release mode, linking takes like 10 minutes. It's like fuck. So depends. It's C++, right? If you're worried about compile times, you need to go get Incredibuild and hook up a whole bunch of stuff. Otherwise, uh, you know, that's just how it's gonna be. Alright, so let's jump over to our level. So we have our hideable component. Hidables. So what we're going to want to do is, if this other actor, we're going to cast to a Dashkin entity actor, then we are going to call our C++ function, which is going to be this set hidden by, and ourselves. And we are also going to keep track of a set. So this will be hidden actors. So let's get a, this will be an actor. Dashkin enemy actor set. Now I'll be right back. Oh yeah, I do incremental builds. Just some odd noises around. I think there's just truck driving past. But yeah, you can definitely do incremental builds for testing, but that's not really going to help you too much on the final link times for an executable. Alright, so we'll add to the hidden by. Do we not have an event here for like end play or destroy? Alright, so alright, so what we want to do is we want to bind to an event on hidden. We want to do something. Where is our stealth? Stealth settings. Okay, so stealth if we're a dedicated server, if we are crouched, blah 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 is breaking stealth. So let's see, what makes us breaking stealth? Throwing, hitting, sliding, stunned, aim shooting. Any of those sorts of things. Okay, so if we have stealth teams, I guess we should have like if we are stealthed or not sort of thing here. So if we get our entity and we get actors, yeah, we don't want entity, we want our get entity actor. Yeah, here we go. So if this is greater than 0, then we potentially could be stealthed. Alright, so we're going to set, if this is true, we're going to set that we should stealth. So what I need to do is actually take some of this stuff and put it a little bit different areas. So I want if we should stealth, so this is basically want a branch here with should stealth as our variable to go to both of these guys.